Thank you so much, NucularTech, for sending this controller out. I'm so excited to try the P24F on my Surron. Super excited to put this on my bike. Thank you. This is what comes in the box. You get your beautiful nuclear controller here, P24F, with a very nice guard to mount it. Beautiful. I got the silver color. Silver just matches that frame really nice. Super excited to put it on there. Looks like we got some hardware there. We got the phase wire extensions here. Little nice nuclear tag for the key. This looks like to be the dash screen mount. You got your wires here. And then after all, you got your beautiful screen to program the bike and tune it all on. Super excited to get this all set up. Thank you so much. This will be my first time installing any controller on any bike, so hopefully this process is pretty easy and we're gonna learn together here. I'm gonna start by moving all this other new stuff out of the way for a few minutes. And I'm gonna start getting access to the old controller here, the stock controller, which we're gonna take off the bike so we can mount the new controller onto it. So now we got the skid plate removed, we have a bit more access to the phase wires and just kind of everything here. I think we're still gonna probably need to pop this ignition key plate off just to access a bit more wires after, but this is my first time doing this, so we're learning together here. That off. This plastic cover should just slide off now. Took that off. Have a little bit more access now, so come out. There we go. There's one. And then there'll be one more. This side, just gonna turn the wheel to make it a little bit easier. So one of the next steps after you gotta do, once you have access to the controller and the phase wires, there's a zap strap on this, is you wanna cut that zap strap so you have more access to all the wires. And then we're gonna come up here. We need to remove the stock Surron display because that is no longer used anymore. And we're gonna have access to that from removing the key ignition thing. So let me find an Allen key for that. Once you get the two Allen screws out, you can basically wiggle up your ignition there, and then you can get access to your screen wire to remove the screen, because stock Surron display is no longer needed with the new controller. Once you get off the ignition bolts there and pull up the key plate, you'll have access to the Surron screen wire. You're gonna find a little tab right there, press the tab and lift up, and you should be able to remove it, trace it back, and then I just need to get the two screws underneath to remove the screen now. So on the screen, you're gonna flip it over. There's gonna be a cover with a bunch of Phillips screws. You're gonna take off all the Phillips screws, and then you're gonna have access to the panel. You're gonna find your CAN wire that the kit comes with, find the small end, and make sure that the yellow, white, and gray are on the top, and slowly wiggle it in. and then you'll be able to fit the wires in that slot and put the cover back on. So in a bag, you're gonna find your adapter package to mount your screen. It's gonna come with the adapter, and then you're gonna get 2 Allen bolts. You're gonna come here to your stem. There's a little rubber thing, you pull that off, and then you'll have access to the stem bolt. And then you're also gonna wanna undo the side Allen key bolts as well on the stem. You're gonna wanna come undo that stem bolt there. There's the right bolt, make sure it's straight. So the package is also going to come with a smaller Allen bolt, and that's what's going to mount on your screen to there. So basically hook it up like a, so now you just screw that screw to mount your display. So there's 2 bolts in your frame that hold on your breaker there. You're going to undo the bolts, and then you'll have access to pull the breaker back to get access to the cables to unplug. Now you basically have your whole controller off. I've unplugged the plugs from up here, and now your old controller is off. So there's the mounts for the stock controller. They're no longer needed anymore, so you can basically undo the bolts on those. I've already taken the one side off. We're just taking the other side off now. Now that both mounts are off, you have access to mount the new plate basically. In your kit, one's going to be the Hall and then the throttle sensor. They only fit direct, so you won't get them mixed up. And you're going to want to hear that click. Make sure you hear that click. You've plugged in all your new wiring to the thing. You're going to tuck in those wires up top here, and then come here. You're going to basically install those bolts again, and you're going to push the whole breaker panel forward while making sure all the wires are tucked up above so you're not pushing anything or crushing any of the wires, and to make sure that the bolt holes align, and then you can install the breaker back. We're installing the controller cover now. To install the controller, basically you're going to want to feed your wires through it, and then there's the 2 bolts up top. You're going to want to tighten those bolts down. And then there's 2 more on the bottom here that we gotta line. Now we are gonna install our phase wire extension kit. Basically it comes with a screw, a washer, and then a nut. Just finger tight them for now. Get each one on. I've actually never used heat shrink before. This is my first time. So we're gonna slide each one on. I'm gonna leave a little bit of a color so I can see what color it actually is. A little bit of a green. You're going to want to unplug the white covers that you're going to use. So basically I unplugged the Hall sensor. This one's already open. And then I think we got to open up. On the left side of the controller, you're going to want to plug in the Hall sensor and your throttle and back up. So we've hooked up the couple wires. And now we just got to tighten down the phase wires. Don't want to go over tight because the bolts are screwing into copper or brass, so you don't want to overdo it. Nice and tight. You can plug this one back in. Hear that click. We're on the final steps now. We're just basically pushing the controller in now. Since we've installed all the power wires and the phase wires, we're just pushing the controller in and doing up the bolts to the mount, basically. Kind of cleaning up all the wires. Those last few bolts in. Sure looks clean though. Matches the silver frame like perfect. We're gonna turn the bike on now, so let's flip the breaker switch. And that's a good sign. The screen lights up right away, so basically we just gotta set this up. So you're gonna start up your bike, make sure your key is on. You're gonna go into devices, find devices there. You're gonna click the green button, click green button again, find the nuclear controller, and then you're gonna scroll down to auto setup there. Scroll down one more time, it says off. You're gonna click it, hit that button one more time so it says on, and then click green. And basically we're gonna do a full setup on the bike now. I don't have any brake sensors, so I don't have to worry about pressing the brake right now. In a second, it's gonna ask to press the throttle and then release the throttle. And then it's gonna start doing the calibration. It's going backwards. Faster now. Basically just doing an auto tune to try to correct the motor position. It's gonna make this weird noise, so that's totally normal. It's just it's correcting the motor angle. And then after that, that's the full setup. So after, you're gonna want to click green. Oh. Exit out of there. And then you're going to want to go to the very top where it says save settings. Click the green button. Hit that so it says on. And then we're going to save the new 24 controller. You're going to want to, after it says saved, you're going to want to back out so it has the menu again. Basically, as soon as all the dash is lit up again, we're gonna have full power to the wheel. And the controller is tuned. And that's how you install the P24F nuclear controller. Look at that. That torque is nuts. I'm so excited to tune it all up and get it dialed in.